Hey everyone, this is Kelly Cahoot and I'm here with a project for honeybee stamps today. I have an easy peasy honey jar shaker card to share using lots of products from the honeybee stamp shop, including this stamp set called Sweet as Honey. This is one of those sets that's great to have in your stash because it includes lots of awesome little images as well as great greetings. So to start this project, I am going to work on the background. I had a honeycomb stencil in my stash, and I'm going to add on two different distressing colors. I started out with the lighter mustard seed, and I'm going to add fossilized amber, which is a little bit of a deeper, richer gold, into certain parts of the background using some distress blending tools or mini blending tools for that. Pull that stencil off, and I love the way that that background turned out. And then I did all my die cuts first for the shaker card. So I needed a backer piece for my card, the acetate piece, and then a piece for the window. I used this jar, and this die set is called Honey Jar Fold Along Card, and this is from Sizzix, but it is sold in the Honeybee Stamp Shop. It makes a 3D kind of pop-up standalone card. I'm just going to use that center jar there. And I use this set, the Labels die set from Tim Holtz, to cut out the little window piece for my card. And I use a smaller one to cut a label for the greeting later on. And that's what the little jar lid looks like. And I'm going to start by stamping the greeting. I added some anti-static powder tool to some vellum, and I'm going to ink up the word honey from that Sweet as Honey stamp set with some Versamark sticky ink, and I'm going to stamp that down. I'm going to cover it with platinum embossing powder, and I love this platinum because it has tones of both gold and silver, so it goes really well with those warm tones of the honeycomb and the honey dewdrops that I'll use later on, as well as the blue for my vintage looking canning jar there. I use some really fine tip scissors and fussy cut around the word honey, and I'm adding that on to the other little die cut there that I added Sweet As with the Sweet as Honey stamp set. I'm going to add my acetate onto my window piece with some score tape. Make sure that's all nicely lined up and give it a nice pat down to make sure all the edges stay nicely stuck down. We don't want any of our shaker pieces to escape out of the sides. And then I'm going to trim down and use some foam tape. I like to do shaker cards like this. I add some tape and then pull off the side or pull off the backing, add another piece. You can see I go around the edges there. Pull off the backing and then add another piece. I've had better luck doing it this way than adding both pieces on at the same time, if that makes sense, or folding it over on itself. And I love this dewdrop mix from Honeybee Stamps. It's called Bee Pollen, and it is absolutely perfect for my little honey jar here. I wanted to make sure all those little dewdrops were nice and flat inside there. They are a little bulkier than sequins, so I wanted to make sure that they were all going to scoot around nicely inside that little shaker part there. The next thing I did was add the jar's lid and some yellow and white twine. I need to trim down my little tails there. And then I'm going to stick on the greeting. I did this by adding just little bits of glue behind where I had stamped and embossed the greeting. I don't want the glue or adhesive to ooze out because you can see it behind the vellum. Stuck that on. I'm going to add an acrylic block to let that dry for just a little while. And I'm going to add this whole thing onto some gray cardstock. I wanted to pull in the gray to match the lid of the jar. And I trimmed down my background piece to go onto an A2 size top folding card. Get that adhered down, and then I'm going to add my shaker portion to the card. And then I thought it needed just a little extra something. So I pulled out one of the cute little blooms or blossoms from that Sweet as Honey stamp set. I'll show you here. And I just pulled up on Pinterest, like honey blossoms, bees on blossoms, and I colored it like I found online, and I curled up the petals to give it just a little bit of dimension and added that there with the ribbon. And this is the finished shaker card. It was so easy, and I love the look of the dewdrops. All these products can be found at honeybeestamps.com. Thank you so much for joining me. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.